So the other week, I was having some very interesting conversations with a Swami friend of mine, whom we lived in an ashram together some time ago. And I was talking about many of my experiences because, as some of you know, my spiritual path has been one, well, maybe many of you don't. My spiritual path has been one of deep, deep practice. I spent 12 years traveling to India and Nepal for from 3 to 18 months at a time. I think altogether over 12 years, I was there 5.5 years and did a lot of sadhana, a lot of Tibetan Buddhist practice, a lot of Vipassana retreats. I met two of my main teachers who I would say I see them and believe them to be enlightened beings or living from a very enlightened place. And just being in their presence was profound, would alter my state of consciousness. And because, and alongside all of that, I've always worked with the medicines of this land, being the sacred mushroom. So I would often go and spend 3 or 4 months doing 7, 8 hours a day of sadhana practice, of mantra recitation, visualization, all of these things, day after day after day, doing circumambulation around Swambinath Stupa, around Bodhanath Stupa for hours at a time. And what I was speaking to her about was, because she's very clean living, she's never smoked, never taken any psychedelics, never, that's just not her way. She's lived a very pure life. And so we have really rich conversations because we both respect each other's path and we both respect the way that each other has trod the path. And we're both in our, well, I'm 50 this year. Woo, and she's in her 50s, and we have very powerful conversations. She helps because I suppose a lot of my experiences come from experience. It's come directly, and I've not realized the profundity of those insights or those secrets that I would be being shown. And for me, often before I came to Buddhism and yoga and had a very grounded practice, a lot of my practice was just in psychedelics and indigenous cultures and land-based things. But I was very much, I was without a guide, without a teacher, without a lineage, without a path, and yet I was guided. I was taught by other beings. And I suppose the only way you can really see if what you're being shown has value or truth is by living it. So for me, I would be given these insights, I would be given this information and this wisdom. And for me, it's like, well, I guess the only way to find out is to live it. So I would live it. I would put it to the test. And that started in my teens and has carried on throughout my entire adult life. And I can say that those things stood well. They stood me well. I don't know if that makes sense. They were a solid foundation to where I'm at now. So Hamster and me were having a conversation about awakening, about experiences, and about psychedelic experiences. And one of the things that I realized in those conversations was that the experiences I had wouldn't have happened the way they did if I didn't have the inner mind training that those paths had given me. So Buddhism teaches you that for me, the essence of Buddhism is attachment and aversion. Okay, you have things that you want, you get hooked into. I call them attention hooks. You might see a sexy man or woman. You might see a really lovely, gorgeous bit of food. You might see a sexy car. You might see anything that's alluring, sweets, makeup, whatever is your thing. You see it and you're like, ooh, and you get pulled towards it. Okay, that's attachment. I want, I desire, I grab after. See that motion? Grabby, grab, grab. It's that. And the other one is aversion. I don't want that. Oh, that's horrible. I'm scared. I'm threatened. I'm small. I'm shrinking. I'm shamed. Get rid of it. I don't like it. It's disgusting. It's horrible. It's violent. It's angry. It's blah, 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 blah. Fill your own words in. Um, and so for me, that is the essence of the Buddhist path, is that Four Noble Truths. There is suffering. There is an end to suffering. There is a path that leads to the end of suffering and something else. I'm a bit bad with lists. But anyway, there is suffering. Oh, and there's a cause of suffering. And that cause of suffering in the translations that we receive are, the cause of suffering is desire, which is not a very good translation in my eyes. The cause of suffering is grasping. Is grasping. It's this action. Okay, so I can let me find something. Stone. I can hold that stone. I can hold it. If I tip my hand, it will fall off. Oops. Or I don't want that stone to fall out of my hand because I really like it, so I'm going to grasp it. Okay, there's tension there, there's compression. And when I finally make my video about this thing, the compression, the grasping, this is the dark, this is the compression, this is the black hole. Black holes, they contract. Okay, within our, we've got the light and the dark. And, you know, we think they're good and bad. Light and dark, good and bad. No, no, no. There's just light and dark, male and female, all the polarities in the world. One of them is grasping, and one of them is pushing away. The training is to observe, to look within yourself, to feel within yourself, to be within yourself, and to see when you're grasping, when you're pushing away. So coming back to journeying and doing deep journey work, on those profound journeys where I would seem to get different things happen than what most people would experience, it was because at a certain point on those journeys, and it would always be the case, as many of you that have done this kind of work may notice, there comes a point on a journey when, and I'm talking quite high dose journeys here, where the stuff that's revealing itself or unveiling itself to you will tempt you or scare you. And it's at that point that you practice. So if you've had no training, if you've had no guidance, if you've had no teacher, if when you're in that space, there's no guide guiding you, which I was fortunate enough to have, you'll probably just go, oh yeah, that's lush, or oh no, I don't want that, and end up in one or other realms of distraction for a while. But if you're able to feel that, grasping, oh, that's a bit seductive, oh, that's a bit gross, and not respond to any of them, then the energy continues to ascend. So what I'm understanding now is toroidal field. You know, again, I've got my lovely toroidal field, Dreamweaver. Toroidal field is the shape of energy. We have a toroidal field around our body. We have a toroidal field around our heart. Magnetic field. And our magnetic field is the way that energy flows. And it cycles. It cycles. So when you do breath work or when you do psychedelics, what is actually taking place is it speeds up the spin of your magnetic field. If you get really drunk on spirits, like I did the other night, was cooking on a Buddhist retreat. Yes, such things do happen in certain Buddhist retreats. I got quite drunk on some very strong spirit, and it was possibly the most profound insight and practice I had about the elements, because the retreat was about the elements. I was cooking for it. I wasn't on the retreat as such. I was creating the food. And I could feel my toroidal field just being as wonky and discordant as it gets. Everybody knows that feeling of being like, oh, this is your magnetic field. This is because your spirit, your consciousness, which powers your toroidal field, which powers you, is getting really wonky because you're poisoning the body. And so your spirit, your awareness isn't able to stay centered within that, and it starts to lose cohesion. And the only way I was able to remain cohesive was to have my bare feet on the ground. And when it came to going to bed, 4 foot above the ground, it wasn't possible. I ended up just going outside with my sleeping bag and lying on the earth. And as long as I was lying on the earth, there was no spinning. So, forgive that. I mean, we all do these things. You know, we're all human. So this magnetic field and the rate of spin, if you do breath work, you increase the rate of spin. And when you increase the rate of spin, there's also energy that flows up and down through the spine. And you also have these two channels that go along each side. So there's a whole electromagnetic wiring within us that the Chinese knew about, the Asians knew about, the Ayurveda knew about, the Taoists knew about, everyone knows about it, or everyone knew about it, except this modern culture went, oh, poo-poo, that's just a load of nonsense. Not all of them. The good chance the Masons probably kept hold of it. The Kabbalah are aware of it. It's in there. It's in many religions, and it's probably in the root of Christian religion if we knew how to look. So you have an energy system, and you have a magnetic field, and you have your intelligence and your awareness. And when you do breath work, when you take psychedelics, when you do profound amounts of sadhana, when you're in the aura of an enlightened being whose magnetic field is also very powerful, probably at a greater rate of spin and putting out way more photons, emitting way more photons because they're in a place of cohesion, you're taken into that field, it impacts you, and your magnetic field also speeds up and increases in spin. If you have traumas stuck in your being in different realms, when you come into contact with a enlightened being or a place of power, there is a good chance you'll get sick, you'll get angry, you'll get disrupted. Something will happen that will seem negative. It's not negative. It's merely your energy is being raised up, and in the raising up, it's bumping into these blocks. It's bumping into these little black shards that are stuck in your energy system. And I almost see it like little tiny shards of black glass that stop the radiance from that center being able to just radiate out. It comes out and then it bashes into a shard, and it gets refracted. So it becomes, there's a little bit of discordant energy that's within you because of that block. So as you do the work, as you practice, as you meet people, as you do whatever it is you do, these blocks will show themselves to you. Every interaction, every moment of your day is an opportunity for practice. You don't need to go to India and the Himalayas like I did. You don't need to be around a spiritual master. You don't need to be around all these things, because actually, if you are dedicated to awakening yourself to becoming a heart-based Christ-like human being, life will show you. Every interaction you have will be mystery teaching you. And this is what I found now. So I've gone from being extraordinarily Buddhist, and I've gone from being an extraordinarily pagan and mystical and all of this to, for me, I can use the word God, but it has too many connotations and too many things that people like or don't like. So for me, I use the word mystery. In Buddhism, we're asked to see beings as Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and if we can remain in what they call pure vision, and we consider everyone to be a Buddha and a Bodhisattva, and all of their actions we see as teachings and as things to help us along the way, which is amazing. Personally, I find it really hard to see many people as Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Our rational mind is quite strong in the West or in the modern world. And so this can be a bit of a block. It's like, oh, what? Him? Her? A Buddha? A Bodhisattva? Give me a break. However, I find it much easier to see them as mystery. I find it much easier to see mystery working through people. Someone comes and says something to me that I find a bit jarring. I can't entirely see them as a Buddha, but I can see them as mystery. I can see that as mystery gifting me with a teaching. And so all of these things arising are here to help guide us, help us see where we're stuck. So going back to it was an awakening I had when I was 26. I'd met my two gurus who were extraordinarily, profoundly enlightened and awakened. And it was the blessings of one of them combined with 3 months of intense sadhana, combined with being guided in Varanasi to consume the very small amount of fungi that I had with me, which I was going to offer into the Ganges, but was told by a humongous shooting star to eat them. So I did. And in that experience, I had the experience of my energy rising up through each of my centers, and each center represented a realm. So as my awareness was in my root chakra, and you could say it's like Shakti uncoiling. So as my awareness was in my root chakra and it was moving through the root chakra, this is to do with survival. So in that case, in that sense, I had fear of my death. This is the fear of death, or kill to survive. You know, I want to live. I'm going to live over at the expense of you, or help me. I'm going to be killed. And again, so this is where the training came in. If I was just like rudderless, I would have probably got sucked into one or the other of those. But I had done a lot of practice and I'd listened to the teachings and I had embodied the teachings and I had embodied the teachings I'd been given in my own journeys, which were also teaching me the exact same thing. And so when this happened, I was able to stay in the stillness. I rested in the stillness. I could feel that, the desire and the aversion, and I was able to hold them both and remain in stillness. And I moved up through it. Then it was into the realm of sexuality and pleasure. Of course, most people fall down at this one. Oh, pleasure, sensory beauty, loveliness, and all that was being offered, or rape, violence, and violation. And again, holding both of these and remaining in stillness, I passed through that realm. Solar plexus, power. I want power over. I can have graspy. I want, it's me, I'm important. Or I'm helpless. Oh my God, I can't do anything about this. Again, holding both of those, both polarities, and remaining in stillness. And then the heart, love. Oh, I want everyone to love me. I want to love everyone. I want to be in love. Still grasping. I want to be loved, or I'm scared. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. No one's going to love me. Again, holding both polarities and remaining in stillness. I can't remember what came of the throat, and I can't remember what came here, but the next thing I remember, I was in a dark space. I was just in a black space, and I later read, I found out what happened much later, in Hindu chakra stuff, there's a place called Bindu, and it's from, I don't know if it's from the pineal gland, Bindu, to the crown, I'm not sure, but Bindu is like the darkness of the sky on a new moon night, so it's black. And as far as I'm aware, I was resting in this black space. At that point, I started getting bitten by bugs, mosquitoes, and I remember thinking, well, I'm not Ramakrishna, and if I ignore it all and I'm grasping, so again, it was a more subtle grasping. I wanted to know what was going to happen. I wanted to know why the female entities in this dark space were really excited to see me there. You know, I could feel the grasping coming in. I want to know what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next? Have I done it? And I remember it saying to me, you know, are you ready? Ready for what? Oh. But the mosquitoes came. I'm not Ramakrishna. I don't like being, it was distracting me, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go in. So I got up and I went in. And yeah, I won't say what happened next, but it was very beautiful. But that experience would not have happened had I not been a practitioner, had I not done that level of work beforehand. And that's what I realized with many of my journeys. The only reason those journeys were so powerful and I was able to move through those things. And often we have to go through hell. Often, if you're doing high dose work, you have to go down into the darkness and die before you can come through, because life is about the life cycle. That's part of it here. And the truth is that we are all eternal beings, but we don't realize that until we've surrendered and relaxed and not been grabbing or averse to the death process. Oh, I'm going to die again. Okay. This isn't a normal way of being for us humans. But if we learn to develop that, if we learn to see where we're grasping and where we're pushing away, and then every moment of every day, as these things arise, we can discern and we can use our wisdom to navigate them. So I'm not saying you don't ever allow. So desire, for personally, I feel desire and longing is different than grasping. Okay, I desire for peace. I desire love. I desire beauty upon this earth. I love doing certain things. I enjoy certain foods. I don't have a problem with any of that. All of that's pretty, as long as there's not a deep grasping in me. If there's a deep grasping and a need, then it's worth looking at. So, yeah, so I suppose I just wanted to share some of what I've been understanding and realizing about how the electromagnetic body works within us, what our relationship to and through it is, and how we can work with this understanding to gain mastery, to become true humans, humankind, to become heart-based beings. Because ultimately, you know, we have the crown and we have the centers above, which are very uh non-dual, not attached. Then we have the root and all that is earth and all that is dense. And in the middle of those two polarities, like I will use this for this bit. We have the darkness. Can you see the little dark black holes here and here? There we are. And we have the radiance inside. And these are connected. And this radiates out. So it's just like we have the crown and the highest, we have the root and the lowest, and we have the center point where that all meets. And if you notice in this toroidal field, the color that joins the outer face, so the outer face, that which is facing the outside, which are the colors red, orange, and yellow, correspond to our lower chakras: red, orange, yellow, the root, sexual, and the power. The green, the heart chakra, this is the point. This is the point. This is the point where it curves through and it reaches the inner dimension. So if we're only on the lower chakras, which unfortunately humanity has been for quite some time, not sure how long, possibly a couple of thousand years, all we've been interested in is the superficial, the outside, the survival, the sex, and the power. We want food, we want to create babies, and we want to feel good. This is about all we've been concerned with. But now what's taking place and what happened on the March full moon was that the Earth herself went up an octave and entered into the heart center resonance. Even the Earth has been in solar plexus because she and us, we're pretty entangled. And so what happens now is once that heart awakens, we gain access to the whole polarity. Once we can awaken, once we can gain stability in the heart, then we can access the above and the below. We can hold the paradox, we can hold the polarity, and we can remain in stillness. And this is the only way we as a people will move through this time. This is the only way humankind is going to pass through the eye of the needle and create a Christ-like humanity on the other side in deep relationship and reciprocity and understanding our place within creation as expression of earth, as expression of life, and in a deep, deep, loving relationship with all beings. And that doesn't mean that we might not eat meat. It doesn't mean that we won't cut down trees and fish and do all the things that we've done since the beginning. But we won't do it with blindness. We won't do it with our hearts cold and closed and just like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm going to go fishing, I'm going to go and catch an animal and eat it. It will be done with respect, with honor, and with a real knowledge and understanding of what we're doing. Anyway, I think I've talked for way too long, so I will leave it at that for now. And yeah, let's do another video soon. Thank you.